Welcome back to the Wreckless podcast. Trying to have a conversation that just doesn't suck is my goal today. What do you guys think?
It seems to be doing
so
all right.
far so good.
I haven't said that yet today, and that was actually coined back in the day.
Yeah,
that
it
doesn't
was.
suck. And then now there's like 10 million people looking at hashtag doesn't suck. I'm like, I remember when people made fun of me for that shit.
No, we used to do it all the time.
Yeah, now it's like popular. I like seeing on TV. I'm like, look at that.
I still do it.
Yeah, well, you know, we're still those people, dude.
OG.
OG.
Yeah. OG.
Yeah. I'd get that tattooed on me, but somebody get the wrong idea for sure.
I'm pretty sure they would.
And then now, what the hell, man? Let's open that thing. Josh,
Let's crack it open.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's talk about what we're about to drink.
All right, so I'm going to try to do this with the microphone here too. Okay, I'm just going to.
Don't act like you haven't done that with your mouth before. Dude.
Oh God, here we go again.
There we go, buddy.
Sheep are next. I'm just gonna I'm gonna kind of demonstrate the Somm way of opening up a champagne bottle. Okay.
How fancy of you.
So if you're on the sales floor as a Somm, you take the foil,
You throw it at your guest.
throw it at your guest,
Shove it in their nose.
then
Point
like,
the bottle at them.
like we were talking about before, 6 atmospheres of pressure. So you try not to put it at yourself, point it at you guys.
Right.
The thumb stays here for the entire process.
Right. And by
Okay.
here, he means on top of the bottle, guys.
On top
for
of
you
the
guys
bottle,
that are
right
watching
there,
right now.
right there. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna loosen up the cage. And this is the cage.
The cage is that fancy little thing that comes around the top, guys, just so you guys are watching that.
And then we're just gonna loosen it. We're not gonna take it off. Okay? Gonna loosen it up like that.
That's like just putting it over the top and not rolling it all the way down.
That's what she said.
You're only half protected. Let's just put it that way. In both circumstances, right?
Oh my God, I've never had so many dick jokes while I'm doing this. Okay.
You know.
Okay.
You're
So the
so
hand's
welcome
gonna,
to the podcast.
so the hand's gonna go from here to here. Okay, that's
Right.
it. And the thumb still stays on. And then you're gonna twist the bottle, and then twist, and everybody's gonna be ready for a huge explosion. But once you feel it coming out, you're gonna push it back in, and hopefully it's just gonna be a little silent thing like that.
You're lucky I shut up during that whole thing. That could have been an hour of dick jokes just alone, just so you know.
They call that the nun's whisper.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the popular belief, and it is true. Obviously you don't want to release all the air in the champagne bottle. Is the purpose, right?
Well, and for starters, if you pop it, you're probably going to lose a lot of it.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be spilling on the floor and going everywhere.
That's for strip clubs and stuff.
Exactly. Exactly.
There's a different purpose to popping a bottle of champagne.
Exactly. So whatever, I decided to bring 3 kind of unique-ish items. For example, this is the first champagne created to be served over ice.
Rad.
So,
I've never heard of that ever in my entire career of pouring champagne over ice, which I think is rad.
So the story goes, and actually was in Champagne a few months back, and I confirmed the story with the cellar master, winemaker at Moet, and he was vacationing in the south of France a few years back, and it was a hot day, and to his shock and horror, he was seeing all of the vacationers pouring his lovely champagne over ice.
They must have been Scottish.
So, so what he decided to do when he got back to Champagne was to create an unbalanced champagne that would become balanced when served over ice.
Interesting.
And as far as I know, this is the only wine, well-made wine, high-quality product, the first one of its kind to be served over ice, whether it's still or sparkling or whatever. So
do you still chill the bottle?
Oh yeah.
So always, right?
Still,
no matter what, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
You still chill the bottle, and at the end of the day, it's champagne's following all the rules and regulations and the picking and everything. So during the break, I just filled a bunch of glasses with ice.
Yeah. So this is
can,
crazy. Just so nobody really makes an unbalanced.
No.
I'm like, here, try this dish, but you got to put salt on it.
Exactly.
By the way, I didn't fix it for you.
You go fix
gotta
it
do
yourself.
Yeah.
And
I like the theory though, but
No, it's a good theory.
what you're gonna, if you taste it without ice, what you're gonna get is it's just gonna be a little bit heavier than your regular champagne.
Can I taste it without ice? Just
Yeah.
I'm curious. I mean, this is
Since it's been
too, a little bit,
sitting out, it's gonna be a little warmer, and it has a little sweetness to it.
because I'm not going to lie. I mean, I've got no shame. No, me and my wife will happily put ice cubes in wine because we just need it in our mouth.
Yeah.
if I buy cheap Chardonnay, it's wine all day. It's ice all day.
Ice,
Right?
yeah.
I mean, why not? Yeah. Let me check that out.
Well, I just don't have the patience to wait to chill it down. I just want to drink it.
Right. There's a certain level of drunk that needs to happen that
Needs to
overcomes the
happen.
power of needing your cold wine, right?
Exactly.
Here you go, guys. Grab one of these, man. So and is this, and that's sold here in the stores today, and it's like a known thing. Like, hey, make sure you pour this over ice.
It's not that well known. When I show this around town to buyers, it's usually the first time they see it.
No. It's nice.
So
I mean, it's
cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Yeah,
Man.
cheers. I mean,
Here's to the bubbles.
it's not that bad by itself, but I can see what you mean. It is a little unbalanced.
We need those crystal glasses back.
Exactly.
This isn't the same, man. That was depressing compared to what it was before. Not the cheers, of course. I meant the sound of the wonderful crystal is slightly different.
Yeah, the clanks.
Yeah, you know.
Steel on steel.
So without yeah, we'll get the copper ones next.
Nice.
Ding, ding, ding. Without the ice, man. I mean, that's a pretty. You're right. Heavy champagne.
A little bit heavier.
Right.
It's good, but I mean, it's a little on the sweeter side.
But yeah, exactly. You want it diluted a little bit, and that's how he made it.
Yeah, it's
I gotta
interesting.
give it props. It's freaking good.
Yeah.
I would never have thought of it, but you know, it's kind of like that shanty theory. You know,
Right.
like
Right.
ice, a little bit of soda. It's the Aperol spritzer without the Aperol, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you know, that's
It
the
works.
same principle.
It
That's
works.
good, man.
And I mean, what I like about these guys is that, you know, they've been around since 1743. Okay, I'm not that good at math, but it's, you know,
Long time.
a long time, way before this country became a country, and they're still innovating. They're still doing things that are incredibly unique. So,
Down, dude. Well, they're still getting people drunk. It's really, I like that.
Yeah, me
And
too.
that's really what it comes down to.
that's why we're all in this business,
Yeah,
right?
right. I mean, really, it's a good time, man. And they got such a great name. Moet, of course, even when you go anywhere, that's obviously a better name than
Right. And
our American spirits, as I burp that up.
and it's actually and you pronounced it
wasn't on
completely
purpose.
correct. Well, it's the bubbles. You know.
Yeah.
You pronounced it completely correct. A lot of people say Moët, but it's actually Moet because the family was Dutch. If they were French, you wouldn't be pronouncing the T, but they were Dutch way back in the day. So it's Moet.
Cool. So this one's different. And how long is this aged at all? Is this?
This is aged for it's about 3 years.
Yep.
3 years before release. They want that freshness, so they're not gonna hold on to it. And it's a non-vintage, so it's not made to age.
Is it Chardonnay or Pinot Forward?
It's all three. So there's like 6 different grapes that you can legally put in your bottle of champagne. For all intents and purposes, 99+% of the plantings are 3 grapes. And Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, and another grape called Meunier. It used to be called Pinot Meunier, and they dropped the Pinot. I don't know why. So
I hate it when I drop the Pinot. It's the worst thing ever.
Start crying.
Detachable Pinot. No, not the same.
Oh, yeah.
by
I thought that joke was funny, dude.
I love that
On
song.
the floor. dude.
by King Missile.
King Missile, yeah, I love that
I
song.
had when I did fantasy football way back in the day. That was my team name, King Missile.
Missile.
Yeah.
Cool.
Moving on.
So anyway,
I'm not usually quiet. And that was good. I got to give you props on that one, dude. That was
So anyway,
pretty right on.
to answer your question, yeah, actually all 3 grapes are in this. Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, Meunier.
Cool. All right. So what's the next one you got here?
Next one.
I enjoy this. I think for hot days.
No, it's
I mean,
nice.
this is like pool champagne times
It
10.
goes
I mean, this is
down like water.
Yeah, you could get in trouble here for
Yeah,
sure.
totally.
Won't last long.
Okay. Next one. So Moët started 1743. The House of Clicquot started in 1772.
I've decided I want everything to be called the House of. We had this on another one. It was like the House of Remy Martin, I believe was the first one I heard. And I was like,
Exactly.
hot damn, that is so cool.
That's just instant street cred.
Is it, yeah, you're like, who's going to tell you no?
Nah.
The House of Clicquot.
House
You're
of
like, damn straight it is. Put that in your chicken and roast it.
Yeah,
That's
and,
what's
ba-
happening, bro.
and back then you had to call your champagne house after your last name. So
This was my favorite one from before, correct? This is
correct. Did we
Rosé?
have
Yeah.
the Blanc or the Rosé? I forget.
We had the rosé.
We had the rosé?
It was-
Okay.
Dude,
It's always rosé.
rosé all day is a real
All day.
thing.
It is. It's not just a movement.
So why hasn't it gone in Europe though? Did you ask while you're over there? Like what's the deal?
They just, it's
didn't get
weird.
the memo
they just,
yet.
They haven't got there yet. Because really, in all honesty, aside from the south of France and a little bit of Rosato in Italy, rosé really isn't a big thing in Europe. It's more of an American thing.
I just find that shocking.
I do too.
I mean, the weather's hotter out there. You want something refreshing to start with. They
Yeah.
have such a long time eating process. You would
Yeah.
think that like rosé and bubbles would be way more prevalent.
You,
over there
you would
than-
think, but I mean, the best example I found was a rosé of Pinot Grigio, which just is weird all in its.
That's a little strange.
Yeah, all those 3 things put together is it just didn't work.
Here, I'll just take the Chardonnay with the
Yeah,
ice.
exactly.
yeah, totally.
Pretty much. Yeah, that's almost where we went with that.
Absolutely.
But,
So what do you got here,
Rosé
man?
of Pinot Grigio.
yeah, weird.
Well, I mean, Pinot Gris is a red grape. Not too many people know about that. It's
No.
a light red grape, but yeah, Gris means gray. So Pinot Gris,
I
Pinot
mean,
Grigio, same grape.
I've found a lot of Rosato. I mean, we have a lot of Rosato over here from Italy, but I've never seen a rosé of Pinot Grigio.
Yeah, no, me neither.
That's just strange.
And I mean, with the whole rosé phenomenon, I mean, it's been hot for a long time, but even but you know, it's still a little bit of public perception. Not so much in LA, San Diego, Orange County.
No.
But you go to Palm Springs, most people are like, no, I don't want rosé. It's going to be sweet.
Well, because they're
right down the road.
Because they're all 90 years old and grew up with
and they didn't get the memo either.
Yeah,
so
they missed that.
But no, this is going to be bone dry. And
what's this called again? Just to be straight up, so we know what we're drinking.
Okay, so this is called Veuve Clicquot.
Okay.
And it's Veuve like love. That's how you can remember it.
So it's not Veuve.
I said Veuve my entire life until I started this job. So it's
Veuve?
It's Veuve. Veuve like love.
Holy shit, I've been wrong.
So was I. So was everybody.
I usually try to be okay with these things, but I was way off.
And this is stepping up a notch a little bit. So this is a vintage. It's got a date on it. This is their 2008.
Nice.
And you know, a lot of people know Veuve Clicquot for their yellow label,
right? And
then their top end is Le Grand Dame, and a lot of people know that. But I wanted to pour this because not too many people even know that this exists, and I know that you dug it. So
yeah, I had no idea this was even in the repertoire of champagne. To be honest with you,
so that's aged for about 3 years. The Moet. This is more like 8+ years before release, and this one you can age.
But the flavor profile is awesome on this one. You know, it's the only champagne I think I've had that does remind me 100% of like refreshing wine.
Well, and what you get out of the palate, you know, it just, you know, between a regular Blanc and a rosé, typically rosés are, you know, they're similar on the palate, but on the finish you get this tart cherry, tart cranberry thing going on.
Definitely
and you get that with this too.
Definitely cranberry.
The cool thing is it's like fresh fruit, not dried fruit. You know, so you get this really like, you know, I hate to say it, but there is a big difference. You eat fresh cranberries.
Oh yeah.
And then you eat like dried cranberries. You're like, wow, one has this like omnipresence of like being live, and the other one has this very condensed flavor of being sugar sweetened. Yeah. And this isn't over sugar bombs or anything, which I'm used to with American sparkling anything, really.
Totally.
So
can I tell my 2-minute Clicquot story?
Yeah, absolutely. Sure.
Awesome. Okay. So
does it include a dick joke though? Because we've been like with 5 minutes without one now.
Well, we need dick and sheep.
Yeah. I forgot about the sheep.
Yeah, and we need more rosé.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Here we go.
Yeah. What's the deal, man? I want to hear it.
Help yourself. Anybody, just help yourself.
I'm not gonna say no to that. Right?
Bet you wouldn't.
Yeah.
Okay. So it started back in 1772 with Philippe Clicquot. And this was actually a side project of his. He actually made a pretty good fortune in the textile business. And this was his little side project. And it stayed that way for a while until his son came of age. His son was Francois Clicquot. And Francois really got the champagne bug. And he turned it into, you know, starting to build it into what it is today. And in 1799, he married a young woman named Barbe Nicole Ponsardin. And Ponsardin, if you look on the bottle of Clicquot,
how much rosé you drink? What do you? I feel like I missed a glass somewhere with that.
I don't know. I thought you did a good job pronouncing that.
Pampardon? Is that what it is?
Ponsardin.
Ponsardin.
On the back of every bottle, that was Barbe Nicole's maiden name, and so that was back in 1799. Unfortunately, by 1805, Francois had passed away. So they were only married for about 5 years. But what they did during those 5 years was something completely unique during that time. They worked together in the vineyard, in the winery, overseas selling champagne, to the point that when Francois died, you know, Napoleonic laws were the business goes back to the family and Barbe Nicole doesn't get anything. She actually convinced the elder Clicquot that she knew enough to take this on herself. Yeah. And within the next few years, she actually bought him out.
So this had to be like one of the first women in...
They call it the first international businwoman.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, this is before, like, this is when they're still, like, figuring out how to write down the story in 18... Like, this
women
people were scribing things differently, right?
Women couldn't get bank accounts or, you know... Oh, does anybody know what veuve means in French?
No.
Yeah.
Widow.
Yeah.
The widow.
Really?
The widow Clicquot. Yeah.
Interesting.
So we talked about it a little bit earlier, but yeah, you know, and the innovations that she did were just remarkable. Like before she came along, champagne was cloudy. She actually developed that riddling process.
Wow.
Did you say riddling process?
Riddling.
Riddling.
Close to a tick joke, but not really.
I'm like, I guess that's named after something else.
Let's hope for you yet, Cody.
That's why they freaking turned it so much. A little twitchy.
Exactly. Yeah, she made the first rosé champagne. She she made the first vintage champagne. First champagne with a date on it.
That's awesome that it's a woman, to be honest with you, man. I mean, I had no idea. And it doesn't surprise me, man. The elegance of champagne should have came from a woman.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
I don't think we ever can be, I would never have that touch or have even that thought process, to be honest with you. I enjoy the hell out of it.
Cody, I've seen your touch. It's pretty heavy.
Yeah, well, you're welcome. In all ways.
Getting close to the dick joke.
Yeah, well.
Well, so, and again, what's the breakdown on the grapes on this? I mean,
so Clicquot is a Pinot Noir house. So this is headed by Pinot Noir, but it does have all 3 grapes in it also. Pinot Noir, Chardonnay, and Meunier.
Does the dry come from the yeast in the aging? The dryness of it?
The dry comes from complete fermentation.
Okay.
Turning all the sugar in the grapes into alcohol and not leaving a whole lot of sugar behind.
I'm going to be honest with you.
That's the dryness.
I wish more wine would do that. I mean, I don't know what the process it takes to do that, but like residual wine to me, and I taste wine all the time, and that's my number one critique is, man, you have so much residual sugar in here that like it's like alcohol and sweet, and I miss everything in the note that I know is there, and I just can't get it. It's like you almost made it,
right?
Like, holy shit, this could be almost good.
You know, that's a predominant trait of American wine, and you don't find it very often in European wine. But as we had a little chat off air about, you know, adding sugar to things, right?
Yeah, for preservation, right? Like,
but just as a palate, Americans have a sweeter palate. In Europe, we don't have it quite so bad, and a lot of that actually. And I always remember my mum and dad telling me, because they were born right after the Second World War. Britain didn't come out of rationing until 1966, so just so it's just staples like butter and sugar. They just didn't have them, so they had to cook very savory. And I think that's translated into the wine palate of Europeans versus the palate of Americans. Because I know myself, I mean, I like more savory things. I mean, I do like sweet, but things like vanillas in wine, it's a biggest turn off for me.
So the name of this again, we're drinking, and can they find it in the stores, man? I mean, this is absolutely, to me, freaking delicious. I don't know, but I mean, I'm talking dry rosé. And then the crazy thing is people drink, I think people think of rosé and they're like, oh, this is a cheap rosé. And you're like, oh, it's sugary and it's this. And this is the opposite of that. This is just clean, beautiful, sparkling rosé.
It's lovely. And anyone who knows me knows I love sparkling wine and rosé. I mean, I'm a total rosé nerd. And this is a delicious example of it.
Yeah.
So can they get the stores?
What we're drinking is the Veuve Clicquot. This is the vintage rosé. We call this the gold label, even though it's kind of more rosy right now.
It's English. You can call it whatever you want.
And yeah, 2008 vintage. That's their current vintage. They only make it in the best years. The last time they made this was 2004.
Yeah.
So.
Well, hats off to that bottle, man. I usually don't even drink during the show, and I've had a glass, so that's pretty damn tasty, dude. And last time you brought it, that's the one that stuck out.
Yep.
Of everything, just being unique and structured different than what I know, and what I know in my brain as either rosé or champagne.
Right.
So I think people have a conception about what champagne should be, and if you can change that perception, I mean,
yes, I mean, Strawberry Hill's not for everybody.
No.
A little Boone Farm.
A little Booney Farm.
Lancers, all that.
What I love is when people come here and they bring small bottles. Usually small bottles means damn good.
It means expensive, yeah. That's definitely the case with this guy.
So that always makes me happy.
All right, now we're moving on to the House of Krug.
I'm going to tell you right now, as soon as I put this to my nose, this is a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
Is this like
a lot of people always remember the first time they've ever had Krug.
So this is like the ice, without even tasting it, is this like the ice wine version or like the sweeter?
No.
What have I got going on?
No, bone dry. You're just getting a ton of complexity. Krug,
so on the nose,
typically, Krug is, you know, a lot of people say it's the best champagne on the planet. It's certainly the most expensive. You know, vintages of Krug, you know, they can run into the thousands of dollars per bottle.
So on the nose, which is crazy, that's why I say ice wine or whatever. This just smells, and I don't say smells of sugar, but it smells of that sweetness, that
you definitely
sort
get
of
more of the
elegance.
yeasty, more of the bread dough also.
Yeah, I get like apricot bread dough.
Yep.
But what you're going to like on this is the acid on this is huge compared to the other wines we tasted.
To be that big with that much acid, it's
tough to do.
That's pretty unique stuff.
Wow, that's freaking delicious. So what year is this?
So this is a non-vintage also.
Wow.
This is what makes Krug so unique is that typically with your non-vintage champagnes, get over it.
Yeah. You just done some of that stuff out, guys. I'm telling you, you're not gonna hate this.
No, it's not gonna suck.
No, this is wild. I've never had anything like this, to be honest with you.
Good. That's why I brought it. With your non-vintage champagnes, that's kind of what's not necessarily left over, but that's what champagne houses focus on. They focus on their vintages, you know. Krug does the exact opposite. They make this non-vintage, which is called their Grande Cuvée.
Right.
They make this first every year. This is
before they do everything else.
Exactly. This is what they concentrate on. And it was started by Joseph Krug back in 1834. And the reason he wanted to do that, and they still do it, is because he was working at another champagne house. And, you know,
the house of another
champagne. Yeah. And Champagne's, you know, the crappy growing region at best. You know, there's hail, there's sleet, there's everything. You know, in California, in a bad year, it's still pretty good, and you're still making wine. In Champagne, you're throwing out your grapes.
Oh yeah, you can be destroyed.
Oh yeah. So what he decided to do was to make the best champagne every year, because up until that time, in good harvest, champagne was pretty good. In bad harvest, it was non-existent. It was really, really bad. And what he figured out was the only way to do that was in good years to hold some of the product back. So can I have the bottle real quick? I just wanted to look something up. So that's what Krug does, and they have this cool little thing on the back of every Krug bottle. Started a couple of years ago called the Krug ID, and it's just a free app on your phone. Let's see, 416035. So you take your Krug app.
This is pretty much the definition of champagne dork right now.
Oh yeah,
this is it, dude. This is the one right now. This is the it. Other people have like the prisoner guy that yells at you.
Yeah.
So unless some chick pops up, some French chick with bouncing babies right now.
I just don't want to know.
Like, what happened? I don't know. Enjoy your champagne.
Not as interesting as that, unfortunately. But no,
it does. You should pass that idea along, though.
No
I know
kidding.
a guy. We can make this happen.
I like that. Hold on, I have to have another taste.
Yeah, right? Shocking.
Okay.
The Krug ID tells the whole history of this particular bottle. So this particular bottle is a blend of 140 different wines from 13 different years.
Wow.
Okay.
The youngest wine in this bottle is from 2010. The oldest wine is from 1998.
Wow.
Rad. So this follows what's almost like the blending master rule. We've been learning a lot about this in these past like few things. Is like, man, there's this master blender even in the St.
with the cognacs and with
And basically these guys are trying to make, like, even with Louis Trey and all those things, they're trying to make the same tasting.
Well, they want to make the house style.
Yep.
Right. And to me, that was unique because I come from a background where like, oh, everything evolves, right? The weather changes and everything.
Yep.
So this is the Champagne's version of going, hey, we're going to blend this. And then it doesn't sound like they're trying to make it all, like every Krug's not going to be the same, right?
Every Krug is not going to be the same. So unlike something like Clicquot Yellow Label, they go through painstaking efforts to make that taste the same year in and year out. So that if you buy a bottle of it today and you like it, if you buy a bottle next year, it's going to be a slightly different blend. It should taste the same. And Krug isn't really like that. All they're trying to do is make the best champagne every year. And that's their claim to fame.
That's cool. And is that across the Champagne region everybody's doing that? I mean, I'm not trying to bring in other names or anything, but is that like a normal thing, or is that like this just specific to what you guys do?
Well, typically, you know, and even in some of the champagne houses that we represent, you know, your best juice is going to be going into the best years, the best vintages. And Krug doesn't do that. This is their best. This is their best juice.
Well, I'm not going to lie. I'm a fan. Dude, that is absolutely fantastic. And those are all different things. Tony, you like those? Yeah. Yeah, not too shitty, right? Holy cow.
He's smiling.
Glad you showed up today.
Yeah, he's smiling and slightly red. That means we won.
It's a pretty big smile.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, man. And thanks.
Man, thank you.
Yeah. And anything else you want to throw out before we cap off this wonderful day?
No. It was fun being here.
Hey, dude. I've been called fun once or twice.
Let's do it again and bring some Dom.
Yeah. Dom is a real thing. It's a real thing. Well, thank you guys. James, thank you very much for coming in, man. Thanks for shooting the shit. I appreciate it. And we will do it again. You guys have fun with the Wreckless podcast. We're out.